Hello, this is going to be the makeup for Granny. So first I'm going to just let the foundation sit on my face for a minute, and I'm just going to kind of scrunch my face in a bunch of ways to just give myself a guide to go off of. So as you can see, it kind of creates the wrinkles in the foundation as it's setting, and that gives you a good guide to go off of. So then I'm going to be taking this kind of cooler toned brown, and I'm going in with this really small angled brush, and I'm going to start creating all of those lines. So just where my face naturally wrinkles a little bit when I kind of squish it, and just on those kind of more obvious lines. So making sure to get my nose and to get my smile lines and all that kind of stuff. You don't want these to be super symmetrical or even, you just want them to be effective. Going underneath my eyes too, just to make sure I get that nice and aged in. And like I said, a lot of this will come from just, playing with the movement of your own face and what the skin does when you scrunch your face a bunch. And anywhere that I have, maybe just one, I'll usually go in and add a couple more little wrinkles just to make it look more realistic. And if these lines look kind of bold, that's okay. It is stage makeup, so if it looks a little cartoonish, that is alright, because it'll look good up on the stage. And as you can see, like I said, I'm just kind of scrunching my face in different ways and seeing where the lines naturally show up, and then I am just darkening those lines. For me, the forehead is a really difficult part of this process, just because you kind of want them all over, but you don't want them to look too separated or too symmetrical. So just really playing around with, what gives you the best result is really important when doing stuff like forehead aging. And then, just going in and defining my smile lines and any dimples, that kind of stuff. Just making sure that is all nice and darkened. And then if some of the lines are too harsh, I just like to kind of buff them out a little bit with a beauty blender. And you'll see me make a lot of kind of silly faces in this video, but I really want to get the results to be as wrinkly as possible. And then just doing these little lines around the lips really shows that kind of aging right around the mouth as well. And I like to do a couple on the lips as well, just to make them look kind of aged and cracked a little. And now I'm going to go in with this fluffy brush, and I'm going to go in with this warm brown color, and I'm going to shadow in my cheeks a little bit. I want this to be pretty pigmented, but give that kind of gaunt look. So as you can see, I'm using a lot of blending on this one and going in with a lighter product and then blending it out in these big circular motions. That will help kind of soften it up. And then I'm just warming up the edge of the nose a little bit just so it does not look too white or too pale. And then just going in and adding a little more lines, especially right there by my eyes, because that's going to be a focal point. So really making sure that, you know, those main areas of the face where people are going to be looking are the places that have the most definition. And then now I'm going in with that warm brown again, and I am just evening out the tone of my eyelids so they look, like I said, nice and even and just a little shadowed in. And then once again, just squishing my face a little bit just to make sure I'm not missing any important wrinkles. And my face doesn't do it naturally, but just adding a little kind of underneath my cheekbone just to show a little sagging there as well. And extending some of those crow's feet out so they look a little more prominent. And just adding little second wrinkles where I can, where I think it'll look good, give more definition. And now I'm going in with some concealer. You can also use like white face paint or white cream eyeshadow for this, but I am just putting it on my eyebrow. And then in a second, I'm going to take a spoolie and make sure that that is just really getting on those eyebrow hairs to kind of lighten them up, especially because I have really naturally dark eyebrows. So this helps kind of give you a better place to put that pigment on. And just using that spoolie, I am just going to brush my eyebrow hairs so that that concealer really covers the individual hairs. And as you can see, this really lightens up my brows and gives me a much cleaner, much lighter base to work off of. And I'm just also softening the edge of that eyeshadow underneath just because the concealer moved it around a little bit. And now I'm going in with a white, and I am just kind of making sure that my eyebrows are still nice and defined, and I'm kind of putting it in this like patchy motion to make it nice and even. And then I am buffing out around the edges of the eyebrows so that it just makes it look like my eyebrows are lighter. And I'm just kind of varying through these whites and grays, adding them in where it seems necessary so they look nice and old. So there I am adding those little bits of gray in, nothing too defined, but enough to not let the eyebrows disappear completely from the face. And I'm just blending those out so they look nice and even, so it gives it that kind of grainy pattern to the eyebrows. And now I'm going to be going in with this kind of warm pink, and I'm going to be putting it right on the apples of my cheeks and just really getting that bold blush right on the front of my face. And then to soften it up, I will be blending it in these big circular motions and then out up towards the higher points of my face, but really focusing in on the roundest part of my cheeks, or the apples of my cheeks. And I'm also going to add a bit of this on my nose, just to really bring that whole blushed look together, give it that kind of sweet old lady vibe. And I'm also adding some blush onto my chin. This just brings it out and, like I said, makes the blush kind of fit with the rest of the look. And just making sure that that is nice and blended around those edges. And I'm just going in and adding a little bit of that red tone just right by the very front of the base. And now I'm going in with this very small brush again, and I'm going to be going in with this kind of cool brown tone just on the very corner of the brush. You can also use a freckle brush for this, and I'm going to be adding these little aging spots, or they're kind of like bigger freckles, except they're not as condensed as you usually see freckles. They're going to kind of be placed randomly throughout the face, and this will just really bring the aging all together. And just really adding them around either the parts that don't have enough aging, or that just need something a little extra, like the forehead. And I'm just making sure they're kind of all over the place. And this is really going to bring the look full circle. And once we are all happy with that, that is the makeup for Granny. Thank you so much.